Oh yeah, that works.
You never know what you're going to run into out here. Sometimes it's all easy. Sometimes unexpected things happen. You just got to roll with it.
All right, dude. Jeez. Yo.
Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Hiking to the Sunset. And today's finally the day that we're going to be starting our 70-mile through hike of the Laurel Highlands Hiking Trail. Right now, we're at the mile 0 trailhead in Ohio Pile. I just got dropped off here. My car is parked at mile 70 around Johnstown, and we're not stopping this thing until we get there. We've been training most of the spring, trying to make sure that we're physically ready to do this trip and to enjoy this trip. And time's here, and I'm ready. And there it was, mile marker 0. We just took our first steps on this 70-mile adventure. And for anyone who's not familiar, Laurel Highlands Hiking Trail is a 70-mile point-to-point trail. You know, so one end to the other end, not like a loop, which is most of the hikes that I generally end up doing for logistics. And there's 8 shelter areas set up along the way, and you're required to camp at those shelter areas. So no stealth camping or primitive camping along the trails. You have to plan out your mileage, plan out where you're going to stay, and then stay in those areas. At each one of the shelter areas is 5 Adirondack style shelters that you can reserve and stay in if you choose to do that. And there's 25 to 30 tent sites available at each site. I believe there's privies, lots of fire rings, there's pre-cut wood for you to use while you're staying at those areas. From what I've seen and researched, it should be a really nice camp experience out here on this trail. It is Monday, May 31st right now, so Memorial Day, and thank you to any service members that weren't able to make it home, that had to give the ultimate sacrifice, and that affords us the opportunity to come out here and do things like this for fun. GPS says we've climbed 700 feet of elevation a while, so we've been climbing a little bit here. This first day is going to be our biggest elevation push day. We'll do this first bit here, and then it'll level out for a while. And once we pass the first shelter area at Ohio Pile, we'll have another big elevation push. It'll get us up on the plateau where we'll stay there for the majority of the trail, and then we'll eventually go back down when we get to the car. There's 8 shelter areas here, like I've said. The way I mapped this out is for a 4-day trip. Gonna stay 3 nights. Gonna stay at the 653 shelter area, the Turnpike shelter area, and the 271 shelter area. First day is gonna be about 18.8-ish miles. Second and third day, somewhere in the 20-mile range, 19, 20, maybe a little, give or take. And that's fine, because we'll be up on top of the plateau. Hopefully we won't have a lot of big elevation to deal with. Should be somewhat smooth sailing. The trail conditions so far have been excellent. Nothing different than what I've heard. I've heard that this trail is very well maintained, and so far it's looking to be exactly that way. What a way to start your day. Beautiful. There was a wildfire that came through this section of trail in April, I believe it was. So that's what we're seeing, the fire damage here. From what I heard, they were able to contain the fire to a pretty small area, get it under control, and prevent it from causing major damage. But as you can see here, it did come through some sections here. And what's neat is to see the green growth is already coming back where the fire's burned. My base weight for this trip is in the somewhere between 11 and 12 pound range when I calculated it out when I was packing for this trip, which is good. You know, I was able to bring my light quilts and my lightest gear possible, carrying about 7 pounds of food. And I have a video on the food that I brought along on this trail, and I'll link that in the cards. If you want to check that out, you can see exactly what food I'm carrying with me to sustain me out here for 4 days and 70 miles. So that's 7 pounds. My camera gear is, I think, in the 4 to 5 pound range between my 2 cameras, batteries, chargers. I brought 2 10,000 milliamp power banks on this trip because I just didn't think one was going to be enough to sustain my cameras and my phone, my wireless headphones I have with me for 4 days. So I brought 2 of those power banks with me here on this trip. And I got the Nightcore ultralight power bank with me. I'll show you guys that at some point here on this trip. Let you know what I think about it. Spoiler alert, I kind of don't think the extra 2 times the price is really worth the 1 ounce savings that I got over my other just brick anchor basic battery bank, but we'll see. I haven't tested it, so I'm not gonna say that it's not worth it yet. The weather for this trip, from what I last saw, looks like we'll be in the 70s every day. Lows somewhere in the 50s. So that's awesome. I think I timed this trip really well. I think it's rained the past couple days on and off up here, but the forecast looks pretty good rain-wise. There's always going to be that chance, but I think the first couple days is pretty low chance on rain. So I think I really timed this trip nice to have a really nice time out here. Like early June, today's last day of May, like I said. Early June, everything is completely greened up, but the temps are still going to be at a nice comfortable range, especially compared to my last trip out on the Allegheny Front Trail when we were getting 90 degrees, high humidity. And if you want to check out that trip, we saw a rattler out there, pretty crazy, fun times. I'll link that in the cards for you as well. We just passed the spur trail, the turnoff for the Ohio Pow Shelters. It was right back down that way. That means the next shelter area will be where we're gonna stay, and that's like 12.5 miles or so, something like that. And that also signifies that we're about to start our large elevation push. This is gonna go on for about 2 miles, approximately 1,200 feet of elevation. Let's get this thing going. Sooner we put our head down, get this climb done with, we'll be up on top, and then we should be relatively flat, rolling on the top of the plateau for most of the rest of this trip. This is gonna be our biggest climb for the 4 days, so it's nice to do it on the first day when we're as fresh as we're gonna be, and I'm ready to knock this thing out. Wow. Look at that huge tree falling over with the roots way up in the air. Just passed by the mile 7 marker back there. So that should signify we're halfway done with this climb. It's been a beast so far, I'll tell you that. If that's only halfway, this is a monster climb, monster hill. I stopped back there, took a little break. There were some people coming up, going faster than me. I think they just had like day packs or hydration packs. That's fine, I need a little break anyway. Just gonna pace myself. We'll get up this hill when we get up this hill. No need to hurt myself, strain, pull, do anything like that, trying to push too hard on the first day. There's no need. We got a lot of miles ahead of us, and we'll get there. Past the mile 8 trail marker, little ways back there, and that should signify that we're finished with that big elevation push. It's a big climb. I think it's probably the longest continuous climb I've ever done. And now that we're up here, I can definitely feel a different climate. There's a nice breeze going up here. It's cool. Feels really nice up here. I'm loving it. Came out to a nice stream right here. I'm sitting there's like a nice rock bench, like perfect spot for sitting right here. And I just couldn't pass that up. So I got some pepperoni, peanut butter, and cheese wraps going on. I'm gonna eat these, relax for a little bit, and then we'll keep hitting this trail. Beautiful day out here today. It's like blue skies, perfect temperature, loving it. Seen some people out here. Some people look like they were coming from the Ohio Pow Shelters. Seen a few trail runners. Everyone's out here enjoying this beautiful day. Just finished up with lunch back there. Couldn't pass that spot up. Too nice. It had the rock chair, perfect height for sitting. Put my little sit pad in there. It was awesome. Nice creek there. Ate. Only ended up taking about 35 minutes. That was all I really needed today. Not feeling super tired. Those wraps were quick to make and eat. Charged my phone a little bit, and now we're gonna get back on this trail. Maybe if we keep our pace up, you know, we'll be into camp at a good time, be able to find a spot to set up. I'm excited to see these shelter areas because I've never been on this trail, never seen these shelter areas, so I kind of want to get there and see what's going on with it, find myself a nice spot to set up for the night. Came out to an awesome lake here. Breeze coming off of it feels amazing. Gonna stand here, taking this breeze for a couple minutes. So nice. Mile 18. We're getting close now. Should be about a half a mile till we reach the spur trail down to the shelter area. It's about 4 o'clock. So, doing good. Ready to get up here, see what this shelter area is all about. Seen so much about them, seen them in people's videos. Never stayed at one before. My first time on this trail, so I'm ready to check it out. Shelter area, that's us. 653 shelter area, 18.5 miles in, out of 70. Let's head on down here, see how far down this thing is. See what it's like. Made great time today, really good time. We're gonna have plenty of time to set up and hang out tonight, rest up, relax for 2 big days ahead of us. I probably walked around this shelter area for at least a good half an hour. Just looking all around, trying to find any good spots to go. I wasn't finding that much good trees in places. Eventually I just settled on this back here. I'll show you then. The trees are kind of crooked, but I made it work. So I got the hammock up, got the tarp up. I'm gonna throw my underquilt on here, get my top quilt out, let them start decompressing since they've been in my pack since Saturday night when I packed up, stayed in a hotel last night, and now, so I want to give them plenty of time to loft up, decompress. Once I get that stuff on there, I might make a coffee if it's still early enough. Maybe get a fire going, start relaxing. Got a coffee made up, got a freaking nice picnic bench here. Starting to get this fire going here. We should have a nice fire to sit by tonight. Gonna be really relaxing. I'm the only person here right now. It's 5:45, so we'll see what happens. Tonight we got Old Reliable Chicken Fried Rice Mountain House. Probably my favorite mountain house. I like a lot of them, but this one always hits the spot. Give that a nice stir here. Get all that goodness stirred around. Seal this bad boy up. Then I stick them in my Reflectix pouch here. That way I can go finish doing other stuff around camp, and this will be ready for me whenever I'm ready to eat. It'll stay nice and warm in here. There it is. Now I can just leave this sit. I can go get my underquilt set, make sure camp set up good, and when it's time to eat, be ready to go nice. It is 6:45 right now. Just got back out from the spur trail. Right here's a little sign pointing down to the shelter areas. Had a good night. Eventually, I think 3 other groups came down to the shelter area, stayed at some different places. They were all cool. We got about 19.7 miles to go today, so we might as well just call that a 20. It's 6:45 a.m. and it's time to start knocking out some of these miles. This is Route 653 for the shelter area that we stayed at last night. Oh, what's this over here? Cemetery. Wow. It's like unmarked gravestones. We'll get out of here. Let these guys rest in peace. Just passed through those rock formations back there on the trail. Really cool. It's always fun passing through stuff like that on the trail. It looks like there's more rocks up here. Cool stuff to see here this morning. Shelter area down that way. That should be Grendel Ridge shelter area. That's not us for the day. We still have another shelter to pass before Turnpike. Just passed by the mile marker 25. It's like 9:40 right now. We should be coming up on Seven Springs Ski Resort here shortly. Interested to check that out, see what that looks like when the trail goes through there. The highest point on the Laurel Highlands Hiking Trail is in Seven Springs. So if I see any markers or anything, I'll show that to you guys. Oh, that's cool. Potable water pump.
Oh yeah, that works. So right around mile 26, there's a potable water pump. Good to know. Laurel Highlands Hiking Trail through Seven Springs slopes. Probably can't see that. Big fluff. You guys know which way I'm supposed to go? Cause I don't. Huh? No. What's going on, guys? I gotta come through here. So, come on. Let me come through. Come on, I gotta go through here. I'm not messing with you. Come on, man. It's fine. Come on. Come on. I just want to get past you. Come on. Go on. Go down that way. Alright, dude. Jeez. Yo.
Having a bit of a tough time following the trail through this Seven Springs mountain resort here. All right, there's the Laurel Highlands Hiking Trail sign right there. So I guess I'm going down through here. I ran into a guy that I had spoke to on Facebook group that we both said we were going to be hiking the trail this week. He was going the other way, and I spoke with him, and he helped get me on track a little bit. And then I talked to two other nice people. They helped me out a little, because it's definitely a little bit tough to navigate through this Seven Springs area. Because when I first got there, I was following yellow blazes, and they took me up to like a patio, like a restaurant. I guess that's not where I was supposed to be at. But I see yellow blazes now. I think we're gonna be back on track here. Got off trail here, apparently. Had to pull out all trails on my phone. Luckily I had service. Pull out the GPS, try to figure out where I missed the trail. There's a trail down here. I thought it was it. I wasn't seeing any blazes, but I think the trail turned up here. It's not gonna cost me too much.
but we gotta get this figured out. I'm ready to get out of this Seven Springs. The trail's, it's kind of hard to follow through here. They really need to mark it better, in my opinion. It could just be me too, but let's go see if we can figure out where we made this mistake at down here. Just standing here for a second, collecting my thoughts and my composure. After getting all out of whack in the ski resort, kind of got behind, feeling behind, kind of pushing myself a little too hard, getting tired, not really going anywhere. And in my head, I was trying to figure out why my calculations weren't working out to where, you know, where I want to take lunch to set me up for a certain amount to get to the shelter areas. Because for some reason I thought Turnpike Shelters was at 39.7 miles, but they're at 38.2. And I'm just like trying to figure out why I'm not like being as far as I thought I was, why I was gonna have so long to hike this afternoon. But just a tired miscalculation. So it's about 11:40 right now. I'm just gonna try to get to mile 29 and mile 30, find a nice spot, take a nice break, rest, you know, get my thoughts back together, and then we'll knock out this afternoon section. But you never know what you're gonna run into out here. Sometimes it's all easy, sometimes unexpected things happen. You just gotta roll with it. That's part of backpacking, especially long distance backpacking. All right, guys. So as I was hiking up, I just found this awesome campsite right here with some nice places to sit. I couldn't pass this up. Sometimes on the trail, when things like this are here, you just gotta take them, because sometimes you won't find anything near as good down the trail. I was tired. My mind was getting a little frazzled, messed up from, you know, getting through that Seven Springs area, kind of messing that up, adding some miles and time onto my trip. I'm somewhere around between 10 and a half miles in right now. So I got some Packet Gourmet Trailside bean and cheese burrito cooking up. Got some Propel made up. I'm just gonna sit here, relax, take as much time as I need to rest my body a little bit, get my mind right, and then we'll get back on the trail and start knocking it out again. Get to that Turnpike Shelter. This should be Route 31. Yep, Route 31. Mile 35, halfway there. We can do this thing. Moving pretty slow this afternoon. Kind of drained, kind of beat. Just trying to get this thing into the camp. Should be crossing over the turnpike here shortly, maybe like a mile or so. I also see the skies clouded up a little bit. Breeze came through. I pulled up weather back there when I had some service. Chance of showers tonight and tomorrow night and during the day, so we'll just have to see what happens with that. crossing over this bridge over the turnpike. Pretty cool that they put this here just for this trail. Spur trail down to our shelter area. Whew, that makes me feel good. This has been a long, hard day. And not gonna lie about that. It was 19.7 miles on paper, plus whatever we added in when we got completely off the trail there at Seven Springs. Had to backtrack a decent bit. I'd say at least a half mile, if not 3/4 to a mile. Not totally sure about that. Plus whatever we gotta do here on the spur trail to get down to the shelters. So I'm gonna be ready to find a spot for myself, a nice spot where I can hang my hammock real good, get off my feet for a couple minutes, and then figure out what we're gonna do for the evening. The pump here at Turnpike, the water comes out super dirty. I filtered it and tried to drink it. It tasted really bad. So there was actually a tiny little stream down here. I went down there and filtered up some more water. I just dumped the dirty water. Took a buff bath down there. Try to get some of the sweat and dirt off me. But we're gonna have a nice little fire here tonight. I found a nice spot, kind of down at the bottom. So I got a little fire ring here. Hammock set up. The wood pile is pretty far up there at this shelter. All right, guys, it's about 8:40 right now. Ate dinner, ate my snack. I'm about to probably let this fire die down. I'm gonna put my tarp down because it's about 50 to 60% chance of rain overnight. From the forecast that I was able to put down today, I saw that. So not gonna take a chance, just gonna put my tarp down, go put my food up, and I'm ready to hit the hammock, put my feet up, get off my feet for a good amount of time, get some good sleep, and I'll see you guys in the morning.